honoring the unceded Kumeyaay land and embracing principles of inclusivity, equity, and the well-being of all inhabitants. We strive for a vibrant and sustainable neighborhood through pedestrian-friendly infrastructure, open space preservation, affordable housing, and responsible economic development. In our discussions, may we foster collaboration, respect, and care, recognizing our interconnectedness with one another and the natural world. Together as stewards of the land, we can build a resilient community that celebrates diversity, strengthens connections, and provides for future generations. And as far as connectivity, those on the Zoom call, you are welcome in the room. Know that we do not use the chat for notes on the meeting, so anything said in there, we're not really paying attention to it. If you want to speak your mind, please raise your hand either virtually or on camera, and we will make sure that you're attended to. Next up is item 3, agenda setting and modifications. Are there any modifications at this time?
I wanted to add information and discussion about that flyer. I think it's
okay. Does the board agree? Show of hands. Okay, we'll add that on. We can do that. How about right after the public comment? Okay. Next up is approval of meeting minutes for August and September. One at a time. So August is a catch up on the minutes. We have a motion to approve.
It's July.
It's July. Oh, we were dark in August. Okay. You're right. Thank you. I'll correct that in the agenda as well.
Motion for approving August and September.
Motion for July and September because we were dark in August.
I'll move to accept July and September.
A second? Francis. Okay, Francis is second for July and September together. Any discussion? Okay. We'll take it to a vote. All in favor? Ayes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 in favor. Any nays? Any abstains? An abstain. And Jim, are you abstaining or?
No, I'm sorry, I didn't vote.
Oh, okay.
Aye. Didn't say it.
Then we'll include you on the ayes.
Abstain.
So it'll be 7 ayes, 1 abstain. Thank you. Next up is the treasurer's report from Francis.
I know. Have you trouble hearing over here?
Yeah, let's just unplug it.
That's normal, just turn, you have to turn it off.
Oh, really?
Yeah, just get it. Yeah, the room's aired out now. And we walked in, it was pretty stuffy.
Thank you.
Oh, excellent. Okay, well, now you can hear treasurer's report. You're up.
Well, no change. We still have the same amount for revenue, $1,332.36.
Is there any idea of something that might be spent on? We typically just carry forward.
Not that I know of, nothing's been, I haven't heard of any ideas about how to spend the money.
Okay.
I wonder how we could get, it went down because of the, we spent quite a lot of money on the owl.
Which has become very popular amongst other
Right.
CPGs.
I don't know if there are any ways for us to actually earn money. Oh, yeah.
Are you looking for a way to get more money or a way to spend it?
Just asking the question.
Because I have two. I think we could serve beer and get more people. And I'm in discussion with the Park and Rec group about making their meetings teleconferenced as well. You might have heard about that, Greg. And I would like to be able to borrow the owl for them to use and potentially for them to kick in as the share of the cost. So that could be a source of it.
Okay, that sounds amenable. As long as it's not on Tuesday at 6 and the first Tuesday of the month. As long as it doesn't conflict with us. Otherwise, we'll have a combined meeting.
No.
Next up is non-agenda public comment. If anyone has any issues related to the community, take your 2 minutes. I would ask that you step forward so that people on the Zoom call can hear you clearly.
The owl follows it around the room.
It does, but just for clarity, it also lets me know when 2 minutes are up.
Should I do this now or after?
Looks like it's going to be coming up pretty soon because it seems very quiet here. So moving on from public comment. Go ahead, Jim.
Stepping up to the hour. This brochure was put together several years ago. I think I handed out some, there's more on the table. It includes information about the Normal Heights Planning Group, the Community Association, the Adams Avenue Business Association, and Normal Heights Urban Arts. It also has a listing, unfortunately listing District 3 as our council district. We're now in District 9. But other than that, I think it's up to date. And I would propose that we continue to use this and maybe provide quantities of them for you to hand out to your neighbors so they know how to connect with what's going on in the community. Right? The only change being, I think the only change that update is the district number.
I was gonna say the other one on that page that I copied with Susan Davis.
Yeah.
Redirection, right?
So we could get a sticker that went over that or something. But in any case, I wanted to bring it to your attention and hope people make use of them. Because I have several hundred in my garage and
We have a huge box.
Would you
Just
say-
on the streets.
So it seems like a sticker would be a good way to save paper and cost. Perhaps we could get those cleaned up and have a pack of stickers for sticking on them.
Correct phone numbers or something? Or what?
Yeah, I mean, we could put our web address on there, that's new. We can put the fact that we're in now D9 and put Sarah Jacobs' name on there, things like that.
I would say that paper is not the way to go. That's why we have boxes of them left over. If someone had a great idea of printing dates, and it's hard to distribute. That's just my feel.
Okay.
Like, for the street fair, we used to print 20,000 paper programs, 8 pages, and now we just print 20 of those. And I just think as an old guy, paper's going out. I don't know, and who's gonna stick stickers on these things? I mean, that's.
Yeah, we don't have an intern?
No.
I don't know.
You'll do it. Okay. Well, that's probably easier than getting them distributed. So we'll have them all corrected, but if we've not succeeded in distributing these very well, I think Kennedy's the Kennedy.
I don't know. The only 3 changes I see are District 9 instead of District 3, and that needs to update the website. And the Senator, or U.S. Congressman Davis and Feinstein have changed.
Okay.
And Harris to the neighborhood, except
Yeah.
District 3.
Another sticker on it.
Yes.
And
Yeah, comment?
But you get what they call a stand-up box, put them in and put them near the cash registers in the stores along Adams Avenue.
Yep, that's a good idea. And maybe rather than putting a sticker with static information, we just stick a QR code on there and that's, get the latest at.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
A lot of that is just a waste of paper, getting rid of it. And
We
then,
need to get rid of it. We can make all.
yeah.
So everybody who comes to the next meeting has to take 50.
I'll take 50 now and bring them back with handwritten updates.
Easily accessible.
yes, you want to be.
And if you would come up with a sticker, I'm retired, I have nothing to do.
I'm sure we can find others too. We'll serve beer.
In any case, I thought it was worthwhile that we use these up.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that plays well into number 7, digital communications, any monitoring from Nextdoor, Facebook, email, the site formerly known as Twitter. fielded a few emails, but typically if they're of any significance, I'm echoing them out to the board at the group address. And that group address is recorded in Google Groups. So just for the room, so you know, in order to increase transparency for Brown Act compliance, we communicate an email through the Google Groups. And what that does is it keeps the email thread as a record in Google Groups that can be read by anybody that requests. So if you ever wanted to read our email exchanges, they're available. You just have to ask. Next up is actions, decision items, and a review of materials for recertification by the city. And give me a minute to get that presentation.
Things that were my
The chair is busy. What's your question?
Does anybody live near where there are little free libraries?
I own one.
Put them in the little free library.
I do.
I'm gonna do that now.
That's a good idea. Would you like to take some more?
It is a good idea, and there's at least 3 within spitting distance of my house. So, as you may have heard or not, the city had a grand jury recommendation to do a reform of the CPGs, the community planning groups. The idea being that they needed to enhance their record keeping and how they're conducting the meetings and be more reflective of the community. So we've already been making efforts on most of these items. This presentation is going to be a little more on the technical side for the board to look at and understand the process that we would need to go through for the application. So all of the CPGs are reapplying for their own job, essentially. We submit some paperwork. The city reviews them. If there are competing groups that want to do this job, which apparently some sections of the city, that is the case, then the city would review and decide who is going to be the representative group of the community. So at this time, I'm not aware of any competition.
I didn't mean to interrupt.
Yeah.
Can you share screen?
Is that? Oh, Zoom. Thank you. Sure. There we go. Okay, and then I'm gonna get this out of my way.
And who in the city decides which planning group, if there are 2 groups running to the city council, do we know how does it work?
City council.
That just kind of turns on its head the whole reason a planning group's elected by the community members of the city councils to decide who the representative is. That's absurd. That's just my opinion.
There has been significant pushback on the idea that a board that would be elected would then be superseded by a board that would be appointed, and that board would remain appointed until the new election cycle. So
Is that the city council's idea? Did they vote on that?
I want to double check on that. I thought all of
This is old news, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no worries. I thought that the applications were going to get funneled through a specific department first.
oh, yes, you're right.
Yeah.
There's a review board that then it goes on.
Yeah, and for city council, I think it's just like the final approval of it, but I think that review board is the one who really decides. which one will ultimately.
Do you know the one that the review board is composed of?
I don't, but I can find out.
And we do have some contact information in the presentation here. We can query them directly and often. So this, we'll go over terms and conditions. There's an ethical standards document that they want basically signed off on, then a community representation and participation plan, which I think we hit about 90% of the marks on that. And then finally is demographic collection and next steps. So this is just a snapshot of the city's website for submitting the application. It's a big blue button where you upload your documents and answer a few questions. Next up is the operational procedures, and I'll go ahead and open this file here. Okay, so this is the addendum or the attachment to the Council Policy 624, which we are fairly familiar with. Basically, it's the same sort of things that we have in our annual report. So what are our geographical boundaries, description of what we do. It's just an affirmation of all the things that we've been over before. Number of voting members. Do we have a set number of voting members? 15?
15, you know, bylaws.
Okay. Okay. So they're looking for 10 to 20. Usually, this is all in our bylaws already. Open public elections, there's already in our bylaws.
So if there's an opposing group in a community, wants to be planning group, and they get picked, do they pick the bylaws of the former planning group?
They would have to come up with all of their own paperwork. They would have to create their own bylaws, and they would have to submit all of this material that we're talking about now. So
They have to have bylaws already then.
yeah, but they could download the template from the city and use that boilerplate to start with.
I've got a question.
Yeah.
Do you think that's something that we might consider doing? So we have whatever it is the city is looking for, just use their template.
I believe we already are. I believe their template matches our bylaws that we're in sync.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so what we'll be submitting essentially is this template.
Yeah, it's sort of an affirmation saying, yes, we hold meetings monthly. Yes, we have
Okay.
elections, things like that. Let's see, records retention is something that they really want to up the game on for the CPGs. And I think that we are on our way. We have the Google Drive that we're using, and there's a public and private section of that Google Drive. So that's someplace where we can post documents. And then there's also our website where we can actually show those Drive documents directly in the website so that the public can access them without having to understand the ins and innards of Google Drive.
Information. The city used to keep our agendas and minutes. It seems to me they're abdicating their responsibility and putting it on us.
Kind of.
Point of information.
Right. They still do host the minutes and agendas, but they're usually 2 to 3 months behind in doing it. So it's kind of not that useful.
Let's see.
This is the ethics section, does kind of abstentions, and we can't do political actions. We have to declare donations, things like that. There is an annual training that we just went through. I think we have one person going, and then we'll be compliant with that. I'm going to breeze through this because this is all available in the notes. let's move on to, this one is the ethical standards. This one just says that we wouldn't have any conflicts of interest, that we would abstain from, if there were conflicts of interest, we can't support political candidates, we have to declare donations, and we have to act professionally, and then we sign off on it. That's pretty much it for that one. This one gets a little more interesting, I promise. This is where they want to have more community engagement. So in here, they would like to see more, renters, youth, people with disability, intergenerational households, and so on. We're pretty familiar with that. I mean, Normal Heights is very diverse to begin with. So our efforts would be to make our board reflect the community, and we need more people on the board. So we have plenty of spaces for bringing additional people in. They're going to reference Sandag's Data Surfer, which is actually a segment of the U.S. Census information. So it's nothing different than U.S. Census, actually, just in a sort of easier to browse format. I'm not going to read these bullet points. I'll let you just browse them for a minute.
Are they asking for demographic information about the makeup of the group?
They are, and I'll have I'll slide on that specifically. I haven't heard anything about needing other languages at our meetings. Have you ever had a case where you needed to have another language?
Sorry,
We conduct our meetings in English. Is that?
no one's requested that.
Okay.
If they requested, usually in the agenda, you can provide information about those who are either hearing impaired or using a different language and make arrangements to get a tutor as needed.
Okay. And is that something the city provides?
I believe we have, yes.
Okay.
I know we dedicated funding for translators, so.
I don't see it coming up soon, but I know that as soon as I don't think about it, it will appear.
I know it's come up in City Heights community planning group. Folks usually request it there for sure.
That makes sense. So the city suggests a lot of ways that we can get the community involved, and I think that we are already doing all of them. We have social media, we have flyers, as you've seen. We are involved with the street fair. I think if somebody doesn't know about us by now, it's probably because they're staying home a lot.
Question. In looking around the room, however, I see old, relatively old white people. And my community neighborhood is not made up predominantly of old white people. So how are we going to, should we show that we've made efforts? Because I don't think we don't reflect the ethnic, age, or gender of our community right now. And, does that mean we don't get qualified?
I think the idea behind the DEI program is to put forward the best effort, and that's what they're looking for. They're not looking for targets or quotas, they're looking for efforts. So if we're promoting this in social media and our newsletter and those other types of outlets
And flyers?
and flyers, And yeah, that we are actively seeking people of all stripes. We're not just sort of talking to other people we know at the bar.
Rabbit hole. Well, going back to the previous thing that was brought up in terms of translation, one of the Zoom participants noted that the closed captioning of Zoom translates in multiple languages, and that might be an option.
Oh, excellent. Thank you. Yes,
What social media are you on? Is it just Facebook? Is that the first thing I Instagram?
right now, Facebook.
So I think that's a big component.
Yeah, that is an old demographic.
And another one you can use is next door.
Yes.
Yeah, I've seen,
Like an advertisement.
I have seen people echo our publications or communications onto Nextdoor. I personally don't go on Nextdoor too much.
And a lot of people do.
Yeah,
We're looking for a volunteer to,
media consultant.
A volunteer.
Are we allowed to, I'm just wondering on mailbox rules, like, I just think this pamphlet could be a really interesting drop to inform neighbors in a way that's not going to business, like potentially putting it in different mailboxes. Like, I'm just curious if that's something legally we can do or not.
We can't just get boxes.
The mailbox is always,
We can stick it in someone's door.
yeah, you can do a door hanger or stick it in the crack.
You still have money in there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just thinking a potential way of getting the flyer out another way.
I mean, that's not a recruitment piece per se. If we're gonna take the time going door to door, I would think we maybe a cover sticker for that, like we're recruiting, because that's not the
It's
position.
generalized,
Yeah.
generalized.
We've also posted messages on AABA Instagram, and we the message from the planning group, and we measured how many people saw it. We paid money, and I forgot what it was, but it was, you know. So we did Instagram and Facebook.
And we were looking at automating the posting of new minutes and stuff from the website to Twitter, but Twitter disabled the ability to do that.
Okay, and I just got access to Blue Sky, so maybe we can set up a CPG account in Blue Sky.
So when you said this is on Facebook, what is it? Is it like this, is it just like an ad?
There's a page that you can follow on Facebook. I think we just have to search for the Normal Heights Community Planning Group in Facebook, and it will come up.
Is anyone familiar with Nextdoor? I mean, I haven't posted or anything, but I.
Yeah,
No.
Yeah, but I mean, have, as far as, they have ads of all kinds of things.
Yeah, I just thought that would be a great idea, you know,
Yeah.
just the recruiting message that's already written.
yeah, sounds good. So that's in our, that should be to the attention of our recruitment committee. Well, we'll cover that further
I
into.
think Caroline posted on Nextdoor.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
She used to do that.
We also have a website, right?
Yes.
So on the stickers, are you gonna sticker first and then test them out, or you want some changes?
I'm thinking we get some stickers of the QR code for the website, and then
Okay.
we put them on the flyer, then everything then becomes up to the minute. Yeah,
Let's make that a little more formal. Are you going to come up with a QR code?
sure.
And I can print some stickers. And would you like to help me put them in there? Great.
Okay.
Night, big night.
Why don't we, we'll meet it. Right, a sticker party.
Yeah. And if there's a significant amount of stickers, let me know, because I might have somebody who can do them for a discount.
Right?
This-
Cutting to the chase, is there a deadline on our submittal?
The end of the year, December 31st.
And could we do it sooner?
Absolutely.
And do you need some help to do it, or do you want to do it yourself?
I think I'm going to do it just because I have all the materials that they need. The only thing I really need help on is the demographics, and I'll get to that in a minute here.
'Cause I'd like to have us submit as soon as possible, even though I agree with my compatriot here that I think it's a hoop that volunteers have to jump through. We're not paid. So I kind of object to having to do it, but maybe it'll help. And I'd like to have you do it as soon as possible. So way before the deadline, you're taking care of it.
I could see this being completed by mid-October.
That commitment?
I'll commit to mid-November.
Great.
Okay, so the rest of this document has a lot of suggestions on things that you can do. And if you look at the list, you'll see that we already do a lot of them already. I think it's our intention to bring in speakers when we can, either from developers presenting projects that are maybe ministerial and not really needing to present to us, but are doing so out of goodwill. I think that's the case with the bridge across the San Diego River that would lead from Del Rio North to the library and the IKEA. I don't know the name of the street.
Benton Parkway.
Benton Parkway, yes.
The Billy's developer also came in on the.
That's true. And we will be nicer next time. This is a list of the items that we're already doing in order to get the community involved. One suggestion was mayor's office. I don't know that we have all that much coordination with the mayor's office. We have much more coordination with our local council. But if there's anything that they're offering,
happy to help with promoting the group. I know it's something that I've been trying to do with the Adams Rec group, especially since they're needing more membership. Always happy to plug for
we'd love a presentation on chapter 14 of municipal code, maybe a 6-hour presentation to do it.
Yes, anything for you, Paul. Yes.
Okay. This last one is the worksheet for the demographics. So they're looking for race, ethnicity, household income, community affiliation, and age. Let me see if I have, I'll go to this one. I may need some feedback on this one. So this is the form that they've created. Now, the issue that was raised was if you have 4 items on a questionnaire and one person fills out all 4, it's pretty easy to tell who it is in the room because of the profile that it creates. So the recommendation is to collect all the data and then stir it up in a pot so that it doesn't, they only want the total numbers. They don't want to be able to create individual profiles. So, but getting that information is also a bit of a challenge because everybody could tell me and then I could mix it up, but I don't want to know. So do we do this as like slips of paper in a hat, shake the hat, and then pull out all the slips? I mean, something as basic as that.
That would probably work.
Okay.
Why do we have to do, why don't we just all email you our stuff and you go like the.
Because I don't want to know how much you make.
If you do the Google form, like you can have people submit things in Odyssey, you could get an Excel sheet of data.
That's one way, yeah. Yeah.
Sign her up.
Yeah.
But everybody would have to use,
I think everybody would.
Yeah, I use that for the sign-up sheet.
So is Now, when the form is submitted into Google Sheets, it's going to make one line of data, so it's somewhat already correlated, and then it would have to be shuffled post.
Well, let's pull over this.
Yeah, what
It
is
says
community?
age and community.
Scroll in.
Okay, so this is the other half of that form. Age ranges, community affiliation. It's mostly the first two. I'm just not really. We don't want to have that profiled.
So if at the next meeting or sometime we printed that sheet and we all filled it out individually and anonymously,
Yeah,
that would be the need.
that sounds great. And then we'll cut the sheet into 4 pieces, so we have 4 cards, and you throw them in the box, in the 4 boxes, and they're all shuffled up. You can't tell which age goes with which income.
And then anybody who's not at the meeting can be followed up with.
Yeah. Okay.
Next meeting,
Unless we want to do it sooner.
you print that now?
We have access to it now?
Yeah.
Okay.
You would say it's starting, a few people are missing today.
Then send you a URL.
You email. Nine of them right now, or you want for extras to?
Nine.
Yeah.
9, 10, 10.
And, yeah. Okay. Go back to. So the next steps are reviewing the terms and conditions. I think that's something we'll be sending out via email. If you have any comments, suggestions, concerns, just bring them back to me. And then review the ethical standards document. Nothing really there to get back to me on, just, I read it. And then the demographic data we're doing now, and then completing the application. I'll be on my way if I have this data now.
So, are you gonna send us everything you've been showing up here on the screen, that's gonna come in the document?
Yes.
Each of us, so we can actually read it?
Yes. Now, would you prefer links, PDF, attached PDFs, or both? All right, both.
Yeah, I'd like it on paper, please.
That's an option, yes.
I'm just kidding. I'm the opposite, so.
Okay. Next up on the agenda is the consolidated plan by the city for federal funding. This one was presented at the CPC, that is the Community Planners Committee, where all of the chairs from all of the 48 committees meet once a month to kind of deal with issues that are at the city level rather than at the community level. So this is done every 5 years in order to apply for federal grants. So they do block grants, emergency housing, AIDS housing, and another item that's related to housing. And they'll be running community forums throughout October. Unfortunately, October 2nd was the one in City Heights that's the closest to us. If you follow this link, which is bit.ly SD consolidated plan, it'll take you to the city's website where it has all the information where those community forums are. And those are designed for getting feedback on how they should be spending this federal money. There's also an email address here, cdbg@sandiego.gov, and they can answer questions at that email address as well.
So, sorry, one question.
Yes.
Is this funding committed for 5 years, or it's kind of setting the guidelines for that?
It's an interesting thing because it's supposed to be in line with community plans, but the community plans are in the middle of update, so they're trying to sort of coordinate the two so that they can overlap. But yeah, they're required to do it for the feds every 5 years.
There's a survey on that website.
Oh, yes, there is a survey on the site. We encourage everyone to speak your mind there. And we should put these links on our website as well.
Is there action required?
I'll take care of it. I'll post the links on the website, and they'll also
We
be.
don't have to act tonight.
No. Next up are the reports and updates. Do we have representation for City Parks and Rec?
Mr. Duffy is in fourth. Derek, take a second.
You found it fourth first?
Well, that says you something. I got it. We're talking to me about Park and Rec.
Parks and Rec, any information?
Let's see. We attend those meetings, we attend the last one, there's no update that I know of on the development of the North Canyon Park, other than the next phase, as you may have noticed, the mock building, the building in the fall on that has been taped off, and it's due to be destroyed, taken out, and an expansion of the playground and new gate and fence are going to be part of the news. But we haven't seen any detailed plans of what that's supposed to look like.
Are they going to retain the ficus tree on the corner?
Good question, as some of my questions too, and I haven't heard.
And share your screen.
It's a reliability measure sustained.
Yeah, District 9. Ben Mendoza.
Yes, thank you. Ben Mendoza, I'm the community representative for Council District 9. I have a few updates for you all. But the first one being, thank you all for those who participated in our budget survey that we had. That closed on September 22nd. And last week, our office submitted our budget priorities for Council District 9. And that's just the first opportunity that folks had to weigh in on what they want to see in the budget. So we collected feedback from residents, compiled it, and that's attached to the memo that we submitted last week. But some things that are specific to Norwalk Heights that I wanted to flag for everyone. We specifically asked for weed abatement and fire prevention along the northern canyon area of Norwalk Heights, kind of where FTG&E easements are of that property that's owned by the monastery. Knowing that that's a high fire risk area, we wanted to make sure that that is properly maintained. So that's one thing we added to the list. Tree planting and urban greenery is another one that we've heard from folks. So wanting to improve the number of green trees throughout the neighborhood. So that was another ask. The Adams Ave various pedestrian enhancements. So the crosswalk that we talked about at West Mountain View Drive and Adams, as well as a couple others along Adams, one of them also being in Kensington. Street resurfacing for a few streets, one of them being Mansfield Street.
And Holly.
I believe so, yes. I know Holly's already scheduled for resurfacing. I'm still trying to figure out when the undergrounding actually is going to start.
Oh, because they want to wait until the undergrounding is finished before they resurface.
Yes, so Holly is scheduled for resurfacing, but that won't be until after the undergrounding process is done, which is a whole other can of worms that I'm happy to look into. And then something else we've heard about frequently is alleyway repaving. That is one that we often hear about from folks. Previously, there hasn't been any funding allocated for alleyway repaving, but that is something that a lot of folks mentioned, so that did get included. There's more things that we included in the budget. It's 20 plus pages. If you want to read it, I'm happy to send all that info to Paul to distribute to you all. It's also on our website. It kind of goes through the memo itself on our website, so it'll it's easily accessible if you go to our website. Again, happy to share that info with Paul to send out. The second update is that the City of San Diego receives $3.2 million in grants from the state for a resolve encampment along Interstate 15. So something that we've worked on with the homelessness strategies and solutions department was really identifying hotspot areas where our unsheltered neighbors are congregating as a way to identify how to best provide outreach and resources to those folks. So last year we applied for various grants, and one of those we ended up securing, so that's that $3.2 million. That will be specifically for some of those hotspot areas along that I-15 corridor, with one of those being definitely Wood Canyon Park, 40th and El Cajon Boulevard being another one, Terralpha Park, which is Orange and 40th, and all the way down to Cherokee Points, I believe, but I'll have to double check on that. So more resources dedicated specifically to our district. We've been maintaining a hotspot list for these various encampments because we do know that those folks need even more support. So we've been working with the homelessness strategies and solutions department to try and address those. So that this is just one thing in the many things we're really trying to do to help alleviate the encampments that we're seeing in our neighborhoods, and which leads me into my next update, which I know a few folks brought up those no camping signs. I'm trying to get some clarity on how those signs were decided, like where they were decided to be put up in place, where that funding is coming from, and if folks do want to request one, how they would go about requesting that. Still waiting to hear back from the mayor's office on all of those questions. I talked to Paul about this last week. I'm also interested, because I don't know the plan to roll out for that, but I know signs have gone up, so our office also wants some clarity on that.
So if we can request a sign, can we also request to have a sign removed? It's a logic gate.
Yeah, I will ask that. I'm just trying to get any answer at this point.
So if they're on hold for traffic engineering orders them and streets going from the mayor's staff out there. So that's
Yes.
I want to know who told you to do it, where, and why.
Yes. I guess the other thing is, I know some folks have also requested things like street sweeping signs, but those have been put back on, so just trying to figure out how we're prioritizing various signage in our neighborhoods.
I have a question about the I-15 money. So does that include like Ward Canyon because it's off the I-15?
Right.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, so I think our hotspot areas, Ward Canyon, a lot of our parks along the I-15 corridor, Ward Canyon, Terralpha Park, Park de la Cruz being another one. Definitely.
So the fatality on the I-15 today, was that a homeless person?
I did not hear about that.
What happened?
Yeah, there was a pedestrian was struck and killed right before the freeway.
Were they on the freeway?
On the freeway, yes. I think a lot of individuals get hit crossing the freeway and then lose a lot.
It happens more often than you think.
Especially, I will look into that.
Yes.
And, up on North Mountain and Oakley and Collier, a lot of people have campers parked on the street. Or, well, mostly on the street. The last 2 months, they've been getting ticketed. And my neighbor stopped the scooter person and asked her why, after years and years and years, 20 years of no tickets, all of a sudden tickets. And she told Dave that she was told to ticket every camper that was parked on the street.
So there is that 72-hour time period that folks are allotted to have a vehicle parked. Once it gets past that, then typically, parking enforcement does issue a ticket. I know for years they had suspended the vehicle habitation. The tickets were given to campers that were parked throughout the city. I know that that was reinstated in terms of enforcement back in April, which is probably why they started, why you're seeing more folks do this.
Is there a warranty for this whole thing?
I didn't
think so.
Happy to relay that message. Yeah. A few more things, street safety. So I know a few folks also had questions about how the departments are doing those traffic evaluations. Our office does have a presentation briefing from transportation, so we can actually learn what happens with those evaluations, so we can better explain that process. Because I know a lot of folks said, well, I'm not seeing folks out and about either with the camera or with a speed gun or anything like that. So I want to learn more about that so that I can also relay that information to you all, because I know lots of questions about what is happening with these evaluations if you're not seeing city workers actually monitoring cars, which is a valid concern. And we also aren't educated necessarily on the intricacies of how staff are doing that. So that's why I'm looking forward to learning that presentation. So that's scheduled for this month. I should hopefully be able to report back on what I learned next month. Yeah.
Are they interested in presenting that information directly?
I can always ask.
The offer is open.
Yeah, I have a feeling I know the answer, but I can definitely ask.
And they could, drop in via Zoom.
Yeah. Francis, I flagged for council president the police vacancies. He's meeting with Chief Mislett in the next couple of weeks. So I know that was also a concern. It's kind of how we are doing with filling those vacancies in the police department. So he's going to bring that up with the chief this next week. We have done quite a few things to.
We're still below everybody around.
Correct, yes, correct. So I think we're trying to find out how many open positions there currently are and kind of how we've been moving in terms of meeting our targets for the vacancies area.
Last communication that I saw from the underground, the member asked what will happen next. He said we will be servicing the changes being made, not for 2 or 4 years. The Ollie, for example, was not due for mass need paving now. The idea of that, honestly, you have to get everything done, but we'll do the street lab. Doesn't make any sense. There should be a situation where, and I guess that's because they want to cut it up and so forth. The idea of backfilling so that it becomes unnoticeable should be implemented for given that amount of energy. 3 to 4 years, which might be.
And yeah, that has been something I've been communicating to the department. There's disagreement from our office in terms of what a pothole is. So I know we're trying to work on that specifically with the mayor's office. So they can help the staff prioritize filling at least the potholes along Holly especially. I've ridden on that street and yeah, I know there's plenty of potholes, and they're not just alligator cracks, so yeah, I know it's much worse than just alligator cracks.
PG&E 2 weeks ago, upgraded the transformer on our street. And my neighbor, he asked the supervisor that was there, his name is Marco Zalanza, from SPG&E, about the undergrounding of the wires in our neighborhood. And he said, you won't see it in your lifetime.
I have not heard that. I would love for them to follow me like that.
No, yeah, that's just a worker irony, I'm assuming, because they are starting, but it takes them forever.
Yeah, happy to follow up on that.
Okay. And I think I sent you a message about obtaining the raw data from the street scans. Yeah.
Yeah, we have some telephone poles in our area, and they were replacing the telephone poles, and I asked them, I said, when are you going to get rid of these telephone poles? Because they're doing undergrounding. He says, you won't see it in your lifetime either. And that's over there near Normal Heights Elementary School. It's about to be driving, it's alley right behind the house.
We had a great conversation with it was SDG&E.
Yes.
Yeah, great conversation with SDG&E contract.
It must be like a work joke going right. There was undergrounding on my street, Golden Hill, and it took them, after the undergrounding, 5 years to remove the poles, but they eventually took them out. Yeah. They're just slow.
I got a notice, Gary, I imagine you did too. We both live in the northeast section of Normal Heights. And that area is supposed to be the first scheduled for undergrounding. And I got a notice, official letter that was telling homeowners that be ready, and there may be need to access your private property in order to get connection. Last week.
I was gonna save this for later for the undergrounding.
Oh, we have it.
But, I got that same letter, with the map, which is block 3DD. I guess that's what they're focusing on. So maybe this isn't the right time to ask you, but it sounds like the city council has to vote again on October 17th, in the meeting, vote, according to this letter.
Happy to take a look at that.
It says they will be voting, I'm not sure, voting to approve, I guess, moving forward with this, but I thought they already did that pre-COVID, so are they having to do everything all over again from scratch, or?
I have to look into that, so
Okay.
no, for sure.
Okay, because they had a map, they were ready to go, everything was just going to start right before COVID, and then everything just kind of dropped.
Yeah, if I can take a look at that afterwards.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I can also, since our office works with Cook's office for basically generating all the agendas for city council meetings, we can also know kind of when that's actually coming to council.
Yeah, and catch me as well after, and I'll scan it in so we can have it in the notes.
Yeah, I thought it said something about construction in 2024, but I think I was thinking.
The other thing I would say is there is also Corridor and Cherokee Point are also having undergrounding happening, so I know for sure it's happening. I think basically this whole area is going to be undergrounding for business soon. I'm not sure exactly when it's going to wrap up, but I know it's going to start within the
Mike was speaking, I'm not sure about that, how you're ask a question. Maybe someone said something about an aspect show. That abandoned, or completely abandoned building that was abandoned, or is that what in court, That building, like, Aaron, they don't connect. Yeah. It's been there, I, don't know, it's like 4 years. It's been, it's changed.
Yep, so there was just an update that it's gonna get demolished soon to make way for, more playground space.
The city took that property in the 80s to demolish it and make room for the park. It just takes the city a long time to follow through.
I mentioned in a recent meeting that we sent a letter to the planning commission to the city in 1995 about when so they would come down and settle next year.
I do believe it is in the next year, for sure. I'm more confident about that.
And then I think the last thing would be, unless you have more.
No.
Oh, okay. We have an invitation extended for Sean to come and speak, interact, answer questions.
Yep, so we're working on, so he was on maternity leave for the last month, since his wife had a new baby. So we're just getting him caught up, and working on a schedule for what that would look like for the next few months.
Okay, and next up is, thank you. Do we have representation from the mayor's office? Yes, no? Oh, okay, I'm county supervisor. State senator. Assembly member Ward. And I want to say Susan Davis, but further down, when we do our internal updates, yes.
Congresswoman Sarah Jacob.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yep.
Yes, thank you.
Hi, it's nice to meet you all. I'm Willow. I'm one of the community representatives in the office. My colleague Michaela is actually the staff member that covers River Heights. She had a conflict tonight, so you all are going to meet. So I have updates. Last week, Congressman Jacobs voted with the other House Democrats to prevent a government shutdown. This cost for safety economy billions of dollars and a ton of people, millions of Americans, their paychecks, as well as other programs that move the land make ends meet. Also today, the congressman voted along with the majority of the Congress to it's called the Republican motion to vacate. It is the part in Congress that removes the speaker from the speaker. So Kevin McCarthy currently is no longer the Speaker of the House. Also on the front of in Congress, we have a ton of programs that are opening up for people in the district to participate. Congressional App Challenge is open, so if you know a high schooler who's interested in coding or has an interest in computer science who wants to submit their app for congressional recognition, we're taking those. As well as if you know a high schooler who's interested in going to a service academy, we're taking nominations, and all the information on how to apply to those programs are on our website, sarahjacobs.house.gov. The other thing I wanted to plug is that our office is hiring. So if you know somebody who's interested in joining our team, it would be based in San Diego and would be a community representative. That's all I got.
Thank you.
I have one silly question. If they go to the old Susan Davis, US touching, will it automatically redirect to your guys' website? Do you know that?
I believe it like forwards you.
Okay.
And or it either forwards you or it reroutes you to the house.gov, which is the main.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up is the chair report. So the Community Planners Committee met last week, and they reiterated their affirmation for a letter against off-site affordable units in the Housing Action Plan 2.0. So they had authorized the letter, and then they sort of reaffirmed their commitment to that. They also made clear that it does not speak to any other part of the HAP 2.0, just the off-siting of affordable units. And then there's a land development code update in the works. So we'll have more on that coming up. Next up, board training update. We already touched on that. Everyone, and Scott, now that the festival's over, we'll have time to finish that up, and then we can check that box on our application. Next up is community group updates. AABA.
Thank you, Paul. Well, we had the street fair, I think last weekend. It was successful. It's usually successful. I wanted to take this time to recognize the mayor's office. That leading up to the event did a number of amazing things for us. I wanted to say we got 33 streetlights repaired on Adams, so all but one, I think. And that was for safety during the event. There was about 10 or 12 city staff people, including Ben, Park and Rec, Mayor's Office, neighborhood policing. Leading up to the street fair, because we had some conditions that weren't safe. So we've had some lights out on Adams for 2 years. There's a backlog the city has about a year, and so it was, unfortunately, for the last couple of years, we've had to use the street fair as leverage to get services done with the city, but my opinion is whatever works. And I reported the last time that they had started, so we had, I think, 10 electricians here for a few weeks, getting everything done. We had SDG&E here, digging up cables that contractors have cut when they're crossing the street. So those are fixed. The other thing is the parks, the situation with 35th and Adams. We've had a couple of transients have lived in that park for years. One male for 3 years, another woman for a year, and they were evicted. And they were told to leave about 5 or 6 times by police. They kept coming back, and this last time they moved their belongings to Ward Canyon Park. But it was right in the middle of the kids area, in front of the circus and the carnival. And one of the individuals dug trenches all throughout the park, really damaged the park, 6 or 8 foot wide trenches, and she had cats on leashes in the park for a number of years. So Park and Rec worked, and we got all the landscaping repaired, I think the day before the event. Neighborhood policing was here like for a few weeks, and it was not a secure thing for the street fair to have like an encampment in the middle of our kids area. So again, the mayor's office and neighborhood policing were amazing on that. And we got a notice, my business owners on Adams on Thursday got a notice from SDG&E that they were cutting the power in Normal Heights. The night we were setting up the street fair at 10 o'clock, they would be off till 6 in the morning. And so again, we called the mayor's office on that, and they got them to delay. It was done this weekend instead of that weekend. We couldn't have set up the street fair because we plug into the street. We have 27 50-amp circuits built into the street, and we wouldn't be able to hook anything up, and we've been operating in the dark. So again, the mayor's office came through on that. Last thing is that I think that was it. Anyway, the event, we regained the profit that we had pre-pandemic. The Business Association makes about $100,000 on this event, which allows us to run our organization year-round. It is our big fundraiser. The worst thing about the event is the fire department made us change the layout last year. Now we have everyone walking in the street, and our sidewalks next to our businesses are empty. So that is a continuing problem for us, because the event is supposed to highlight businesses, but when we had to split, for 40 years we had a safe event, we had the booths back to back in the middle of the street, but we had 2 16.5-foot fire lanes. Fire department last year said you need a 20-foot one. So that made everything had to move. There's shoehorned in there. So anyway, that is from the Business Association. That is something that we're going to try to get to work with in the mayor's office. We had a stabbing at the carnival after the street fair ended on Sunday night about 9:30. We were just opening up the streets, and we had 2 gangs, about 15 kids in the park, and they were taunting each other, and eventually stabbed each other. And one of the kids crashed his car on the I-15, bleeding, whatever. They were all known people in the the youth gang movement in this area. So that was unfortunate it happened, but it was after all spectators left. It wasn't really related to the event. But in the 90s, we used to have a big problem with gang kids coming up to the carnival. And so it's just happened again for the first time in a long time. So anyway, that was unfortunate, but the police were right on top of it. Last thing I would say, so that was about it for the street fair. One other thing is that the Business Association is reballoting our maintenance assessment district. They were formed, 4 of them in the 80s and early 90s. The property owners on Adams Avenue collectively pay about $50,000 into that fund. It lights the lights, all the mid-block decorative lights, and cleans the sidewalks. We empty the trash on the street. We have 400 trees we planted. We maintain that. So we're revalidating. We've never raised the fees. We're asking property owners to approximately double that, and that'll happen this year. By next fiscal year, we'll have more money. We're going from hopefully 50,000 to about 120,000. So that takes a lot of work. We're paying consultant firm $50,000 for this. That's the going rate on that. So again, we're going through that. I know that the residents are thinking about doing a MAD with the SCG underground, so it's a good tutor thing to go through if you guys are interested in that. That's my report.
Question for the for the business, like district people, the businesses that are involved in that. It's only businesses with like a physical footprint in the area, right?
For the MAD, it's just property owners. It's not business owners. So it's every property owner from Kensington, 5 blocks, east of the freeway down to Texas Street. So there are 230 property owners. The business owners pay a tax on their business license of $50 to $80 a year, and that's a big fee. And then there's the MAD fee. So property owners pay for clean and safe activities, and the business owners pay for marketing and promotion.
Got it. We got that. Good to know. Thank you. And it's at the El Cajon Boulevard Business Improvement Association. Gary?
The Boulevard Association is planning to put together some sort of event to celebrate the 35th anniversary of the Holiday Bridge lights, which started at the 85 bridge. Attempt to make that happen. And it's been going on ever since. And they love very much to have someone at home like be a liaison on that. Particular things need to be done, and it's all under control, and it's happening. But it would be nice if someone likes community would get the thing year in and year out.
You need promotion and communications? You need communications out to the community?
They need someone, a human being, to call over there and say, what can I do? There are actually 2 bridges. It started with 1 bridge, and then it went to 6 bridges, and now it's up to 15, and it's up to 10 bridges, and there are 2 more on the road, pedestrian bridge and Reed, that are left to be done. And sort of thought that Normal Heights might be the organization that we want to be involved in getting that done. Wouldn't necessarily cost any money. There are Kensington anarchists that do the 15 bridge at Adams Avenue. So every other community is involved in one or another.
Okay. Excellent, thank you. Good.
So what would it take to get holiday lights on the Monroe pedestrian bridge?
It will take someone working with Caltrans to make sure the electrical is ready to go and that kind of stuff there. Money to buy the lights would be useful, but that's not even necessary as much as someone working with them, letting them know that they would follow up on all the particulars of going from not having and the lights on those two bridges.
Well, Gary, just for people's edification, the business districts in the mid-city pay into this, pay the Elkhorn Boulevard bid to hang the lights, and then Elkhorn writes a grant or puts some additional money in on their own.
It's been jury rigged over the years, and Alcoa backs it up if need be. There was a time when they would formally collecting for these business improvements. I don't think that's happening in Alcoa.
Well, we write a check every year.
How do we get the road bridge?
Well, I don't think you just want individuals doing it. It was all centralized before when we did it on the 805. So we first did it on the Adams, and then Elkhorn did the other bridges on the 805. And the I-15, by the way, they can't, they hang the lights, but they can't power them until we call the city and the electricians come out and do that for us on the bridge. So the city has been cooperating with the Kensington people hanging those lights.
The 15, when it was built, this was already started going on, so that there was a electrical source in each bridge. It's just a matter of refreshing it and making sure it's still intelligent.
Okay. So if I wanted holiday lights and then no pedestrian bridge, who do I talk to?
Elkhorn Boulevard bid.
Okay, I'll do that.
Cost a couple $1,000 per bridge for them to put the service in it, so you have that money.
Okay. Next up is the Normal Heights Community Association and Urban Arts.
Yes, so bringing back the annual for holiday lights that we've had in Normal Heights, which has been obviously a very popular thing that we've done. So we'll have a decoration contest throughout the neighborhood, and that will be, the voting will be in early, it's actually probably gonna start right after Thanksgiving through December 16th. And then to be part of that, we'll be doing a bike ride through Normal Heights on Sunday, December 10th, in the evening, obviously. And then there's also going to be a potluck happening on Tuesday, December 12th in this facility with just holiday spirit. Maybe, I don't know if Claus will show up, but Mr. Claus. But either way, it'll be fun coming your festivities, come for festivities in that regard. And then Mixer, thank you all for coming to the September Mixer. The next one is going to be Wednesday, October 18th, October 18th. Not sure the exact location yet, but check the Normal Heights Community Association channels for that.
Yep.
That's it.
Thank you.
I know that, this is under the rec center, but it's under urban arts. They worked on the butterfly and they got 2 wings done already. Part of that mural.
The actual mural.
I already got 2 wings completely.
Okay. Is there a sort of target date of when the ribbon cutting?
So there's nine sections, and we already have the contract to put the base plate screws in the wall. Those took 2 days. And so the next phase is once Kim builds everything, it's all, I don't know if the screws are in there, and then she just fastens it on. So the contract is already completed.
Okay.
We're
getting pretty close then.
Yeah, she's saying November, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, I spoke to Kim at the street fair, and she said, before the end of the year is the target, which is great.
So for anyone in the room that doesn't know, it's a butterfly mural that's going to wrap around the corner of the rec center on 35th and Adams. So it'll be facing onto the kids area, and it'll wrap around to the front. And it's made of, it's a tile mosaic that will be attached to the wall in a manner that if the building ever gets replaced, demolished, it can be detached and reattached.
Kim is a, decorated California-wide artist, does mosaic, and we raised a little over $35,000 for materials and labor for the project.
Adams Avenue Community Recreation Advisory Group. I think, Nancy, you already spoke to that.
There, I don't know what day it is. Do you remember the Halloween thing they're having with the Park and Rec and the church?
They are, I don't.
I think, is it November 30th? I'm not sure. I mean, October 30th, sorry.
This one.
I can't remember the exact date. It's the 30th. And it requires in the cars. So.
Next up is Normal Heights Community, Normal Heights for Smart Growth, and I'm going to see if I can pull up the I'm going to pull up the survey that we put out into the community. Still have to get promoted more, but there are 49 responses thus far.
Norma just entered the room.
Oh, okay.
We're going to be checking it for that.
Sure. Yeah, Norma, did you have anything to present while I'm pulling up this other document?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you really well.
Oh, I just a good time for you to present anything you might have on urban arts while I'm pulling up the community poll. We did discuss Kim Emerson's mural is getting prepared for Mount.
Okay, I'm sorry, the connection is not really clear, but I think you want me to talk about the mural, right?
Yes, please.
We had a great day at the street fair. Lots of people, once they found out the display was and found out that it was actually going to be on the rec building, they got really excited. Kim and Dennis have been working on the wings at their house. I believe they've got about 6 or 7 of them completed. As far as it's a whole big, interesting process. But by the time they finish, it looks like installation will be sometime in maybe February, maybe January. I'm not sure if it'll be that fast. And we'll have a big celebration. There'll be city people there, but it is absolutely beautiful. If anyone had a chance to look at our booth at the street fair, you could see how the little pieces of mosaic go together, and you could see it's different than just having a sketch on a piece of paper. It's really going to be stunning. So we're still trying to raise some money.
Well, thank you.
That's it. Okay.
I'll go ahead and share the. Oh, no problem. Good to have you there.
Thank you.
So Normal Heights for Smart Growth is volunteered to run the poll for the community planning group. So I'll give you a little preview of what the questions are and the answers. We're asking how long you lived in Normal Heights, how familiar are you with smart growth principles? We always have to have that little gimme in there. And then we start asking about the types of areas that that people would like to see worked on or attended to in our neighborhood. Walkability and pedestrian-friendly design, open spaces, preservation of historical and cultural heritage, bicycle infrastructure, and so on. And then we ask them what area of Normal Heights, northeast, southwest, central, what areas needs the most attention. And then we ask them to do some prioritization on affordable housing, and then rank some of their most, what they consider the most important things for improvements within Normal Heights. And we do have an open-ended question where they can add something that we may not have thought of. We also asked what barriers do they see, and what strategies do they think might work for, say, addressing homelessness or you know, and then we ask how they would like to be involved with the community. Are there any success stories, additional comments? And we also, and all of these questions are voluntary. You can skip any of them or you can fill them all out. So the last question is whether you identify as an underrepresented community. I'm going to give you just a quick preview of the responses here. It really does show that a lot of our community has lived here a long time. So 5 to 10 years or more than 10 years. We have a lot of long-term residents, not a lot of turnover. Familiarity with smart growth, it's pretty evenly divided. This particular item, walkability and pedestrian-friendly design, is right up in the lead. We do have a walk score of, I think, 95, which is very high, but it could be better. As Ben was addressing earlier about the safety of East Mountain View and Adams, we're good, but we could always be better. Specific areas, Adams Avenue corridor took the lead there. It seems to be the most traveled and frequented by everyone, so it's not a surprise. Prioritization of affordable housing, it's really the forefront of everyone's mind. This one was the ranked choices, and it looks like preserving character and unique identity of the neighborhood counted for a lot, along with improved quality of life. And then there's the narrative, which I'll skip over because that's going to need some qualitative analysis. Being engaged, providing input through online surveys. So, okay, good to hear that. And receiving regular updates and progress reports. So we both Normal Heights for Smart Growth and Community Planning Group have newsletters and mailing list subscribers. So that's one avenue that we're getting word out. And then, of course, postings in social media. The latest was the development at 2911 Adams is going vertical. They just finished putting on, I think that was Friday, they put 3 units on the podium. These are, if you think of a stack of mobile homes, is basically what they're building, and then they'll skin it later with the exterior of the building, but it reduces their cost because all of the manufacturing is done in a factory. All the cutting of lumber, the installation of carpeting, wallpaper, even the refrigerators and microwave ovens are done in Yorba Linda. Then once the concrete podium is built, they just come in and they drop those units on, skin it up, and they're done in a week, as opposed to a year-long time frame for building. So this reduces their building cost by 40%, and the company Insight Housing is looking to both build, own, and manage the building for moderate and moderate low income without using any public funding. So it's a really good project. Looking forward to seeing what it looks like when it's finished. There was a last question. Well, next to the last question was the if there was any stories about other cities that had success stories, and I was surprised to see Singapore and Australia on the list. Again, more comments. And then finally, on the question of underserved groups, 10%. It's about what I would imagine. So the next step on this is to promote it, hopefully get 5 to 10 times the responses that we currently have. And then that will be written up into a more tangible report, and we'll bring that back to the meeting, probably not next month, but probably in December. And this will help feed into our reapplication. It shows that we are reaching out to the community, we're getting input from them, And that provides us guidance and direction on the kinds of things that we review and vote on. Yes.
Well, I was aware of this. How are you spreading the word about this questionnaire?
It's a Google form, so we can use it in any link. Currently, it was posted in the Normal Heights Community Facebook group, the Normal Heights for Smart Growth Facebook group, and was also attached to a newsletter from Normal Heights for Smart Growth that went out to about 950 people. So those three sources right now are, those are the only sources really that are input here. I'm hoping that like we can get it, go tag along with the ABA. We can also hit up the Instagram next door.
Is it on our website right now?
There's a link directly to the Google form.
Okay, from our website.
Yeah, and it's anonymous form, so we're not collecting any data from. They don't have to authenticate to it. If somebody wants to come in and do 100 responses, we'll just have to weed them out manually.
So it's on the planning group's website?
Not yet, not yet.
Okay.
That's the next step, is get it linked onto the website.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't do Facebook at all, and I mean, I'd like to do it. I'd like to do it.
Yeah.
Tell people that. I don't know how to get, I didn't know
Sure,
it existed.
and email forwarding is probably one of the more popular methods.
So it was in an email from Normal Heights for Smart Growth?
Yes, and it'll probably continue to be in that newsletter going forward until we close the poll.
Right. Could I ask you another question about the project you were talking about in Adams?
Yeah.
So that's going to be a rental, those are all going to be rentals?
They'll all be rentals.
And do you know what the rents are likely to be? Like, the idea?
No, they did not, the company did not share what the rental rates would be, because they said they would, they hadn't determined that yet, that they would, when we spoke to them, that was almost a year ago. So they said we really have to do market analysis closer to the time that they're opening.
Where exactly is it located?
If you go just past 30th and Adams, where the Polite Provisions is, it's just in that block. It's just past where Beerfish used to be.
Oh, they're working in the rain.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You'll see the crane and.
Yes.
yeah, the crane that's blocking the street. Yes.
I was gonna say, if you're adding QR codes to the various brochures and you're handing those out, I think whatever that QR code is linking to, I think including the survey as part of that would be super helpful. That way,
Good idea.
if you're both getting the word out about the organization and then you're also hopefully catching some data.
Sure. And with that in mind, you could make the poll evergreen and just run it all year round rather than have it close. And we could set a point where we stop, collect, and then start a new one. Yeah. Okay. Go back to the agenda. Standing committees, Joint Mid-City Communities Plan Update Committee.
So, not really new information yet. I expect there'll be a meeting, but I haven't seen anything.
It's okay. A long, slow process. So this is the Mid-City Community Plan is going to encompass 4 communities. It's Normal Heights, Kensington, Talmadge, and the 2 Mid-City community groups. Are revising the plan that is submitted to the city and the city would use as a guide. The last time it was updated was in '97. So it's a little bit overdue. It is a long process to do the update to that plan. I think the timeline they said was well over a year, 2 years. Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, if there's stuff interesting or like we want to, they're gathering community input, that we just haven't gotten dates or like when they're.
Historical property review report.
That seems like it's been forever. Planning department has listed in Normal Heights of operating hours for 45-year review, but there is one. 4451, 33rd Street. Arts and Crafts Bungalow, built in 1927. A whole list of character-defining features. The building is in really great shape. And it's actually part of three of them. The other two are not listed for review, but I think it's the one in the middle, and the big one. My view, the details that they get that helps. I could go into all of it, but yeah, it's got all the character defining features of the 1927 bungalow. It's in great shape.
You said it was a set of three.
Yeah, that's kind of part of Normal Heights history. The developers back in those days would often build houses in sets of three, including the house I live in, which is in the middle of two almost identical. They kind of changed the floor plan changes. But,
Yeah.
So yeah.
Are all three owned by the same person?
No, it's the reason why I mentioned it is because of that aspect of how these were built at the same time. And really all over Normal Heights is that way. Different properties and different mortgages that are involved.
So what is the time frame for review and approval? How long is that process?
Oh, well, they don't give a lot of time for response, but I got it in. And, it was just like excellent.
Okay.
They want you to move fast.
We don't usually bring it forward as an action item. We trust that Dan will provide you.
Yeah, it's really it's really just to let them know that they're being watched and this is what we're looking at.
Got it. Okay. Thank you. Next up is under utility undergrounding and street light. Nope, sorry. Parks and trail development. We don't have representation on that yet. Next up is nominating committee.
No action except we collected some names and interest at the street fair for people who respond. Are any of you here because you went to the street fair? All right, you see, success.
I think we have two others that are interested of participating. Yes.
My name's John Ziniski. I got an email from Mr. Stone about a position on the board, and I think that it would be to pull that back. I don't think that'd be a good fit. I'm 76 years old, and I've lost part of my brain that's diplomatic. I say what I want to say, and I say it to whoever I want to say it. Right, Ben? And might get the board in trouble because I'm not happy with downtown at all. And I voted for a lot of them. And they sold us, quite a concern. The city has sold to the developers. And it wouldn't be in the best interest of the board to have you on the board. Some of the fiascos that have come to the city and to this neighborhood in the last year or two. It just wouldn't be a good thing.
Well, thank you, and hopefully you'll keep your activism up in this.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Right, Ben?
We count on a little corner of hellfire and brimstone over there.
Jim's had his hand up.
Yeah.
If you're attending with an interest in becoming a member, we have an application form, and I'd be glad to help you with that process.
Think about it.
We're not gonna lock the door and make you stay. If you're interested.
Yeah, come talk to us. Next up, utility undergrounding and streetlight map. This,
Well, so there's, something that's obviously, we talked about this before.
Yeah.
There's some movement, not clear how much, but, things are starting to grind slowly forward. Emily and I are gonna get together and we'll talk about this. I plan to attend this council meeting virtually, and see actually what happens. And say it's on October 17th, if anyone's interested. It sounds like they're just gonna vote on whether to go forward with undergrounding. I think. You can look at this.
Yeah.
You can interpret this for me.
Okay.
But it's only this block 3DD as far as I understand, which is the kind of northeast corner of the lines. It's, it's north of Arthur, west of 15, east of 33rd. It's not a big area.
Okay. It sounds like they're getting their feet wet.
Well, I think it's always been the plan, or one plan, to do it bit by bit.
Yeah.
I'm not sure it's the best plan. I wish they would do all of them, but maybe that's expected.
I'm not
Sorry,
an engineer, so I
think they only have so much labor.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Caltrans grant submission, waiting to hear back from Caltrans on the decision. It was supposed to have, decision was supposed to happen in September, but have not heard anything yet. So they are late, which I was expecting because they did extend the submission period by a month. So I would imagine that everything else slid down by a month. So I'll be following up with them again on finding out if we are getting any money for a community garden. DEI program. I think I'll speak to that because we've been going over it sort of integrated into everything else we've been talking about this evening. And it's part of our recruitment. It's part of our registration or re-registration with the city. And it's also the right thing to do. So anybody has any questions on it? See me and I can bring you up to speed on it.
What is it?
It is diversity, equity, and inclusion. It's basically making sure that we represent the community as it is composed. Tree replacements.
Yeah, don't have updates, but we'll check in. We did get on the radar of some of the city staff. That was like 2 weeks ago, so I'll send an email.
Yeah, okay. And I know that the mayor's newsletter recently said they're getting 8,000 trees from the federal government. So I would expect us to garner 6,000 to 7,000 of those.
Later, guys. Like that's pretty good.
Yeah, I think we could start there. Traffic issue task force.
I have nothing. I had a whole lot last week.
Okay.
You make up for like a few meetings, I think.
Yeah.
But a lot of them are in the works with what Ben was saying about how are they measuring it and the efforts at the Shell station on Adams.
I think Al had a lot of great data last meeting on a lot of unfunded things that there's an extensive list. So how can we prioritize what's on that list?
Yeah. Anybody who wants to see what's on the list, I have it and I put it in a PDF now, so I can send it to anybody who wants it. So just. I'll just send it to the group.
Yeah.
Send it to the group. And I know you had sent it to me for posting on the website, which I have not gotten. Okay. Last item is the community engagement poll, which we've already seen. Do we have any other business?
Move to adjourn.
Second. Thank you.